In this part of the Hurconomics, I would like to talk of feedback. What are the benefits of a feedback and what are the costs of a feedback? I think feedback costs nothing, and feedback can be shorter, can be factual, can be based on information, and can simply be descriptive and not getting into evaluation and things like that. I had a very interesting experience. A CEO friend of mine, who is a very popular CEO, he had a large network of other senior managers across the country, was once asked to chair an international conference. He was requested to be the chairperson of an international conference. He said he would agree anything that he undertakes, he would like to do it in a very systematic way, and he would therefore agree to chair the conference provided that he can have a meeting of about 30 to 40 distinguished people who are associated with different fields. And he took upon himself the responsibility of inviting these 40 people for a planning meeting. So the planning meeting was organized for about a couple of hours, followed by lunch. And the chairman of this, the CEO, friend of mine, is from Bombay. So he invited about a large number of people, about 20 from Bombay attended, and another 20 from the rest of the country also attended because they all respect this CEO. In the 2.5 to 3 hours that we spent for the meeting, I hardly got an opportunity to present my point of view for 5 minutes. Now, if you see, you have about 2 hours, that's about 120 minutes, and divide by 40 people, you will hardly have 3 minutes of talk time to be given. Of course, not everyone talks. Somebody may dominate to the extent, including the chairman himself, to the extent that he would take about 20 to 30% of the time available for these people. So, at the end of the meeting, we concluded something, but I returned back highly dissatisfied. And I just used Hurconomics principles and calculated how much this meeting has cost. Can you examine how much do you think a meeting attended for about 2 to 3 hours by a group of 40 top level people from the country would cost? By my own conservative estimate, it cost about 15 lakhs of rupees. Very simple estimate. I mean, 2 hours of your time. If each one of them is in a even on a conservative way, 50% bracket, 50 lakh kind of a bracket, 50 lakhs the CTC. Normally, I think if you talk of CEOs and others, there will be much more. 50 lakh a year CTC would work out to be something like about 4 to 5 lakhs a month. So if you take 4 lakhs a month, I think it is the time cost per minute is about 40 rupees a minute of each one of these, and 120 minutes multiplied by 40 you can calculate. That is for each individual. So 40 multiplied by 40 multiplied by 120, plus their travel time, plus their travel expenses were 20 of those who came from other side, and calculate also the opportunity cost. I think in my conservative estimate, the opportunity cost of this meeting came to be about a couple of crores of rupees. So my CEO friend, because of his networking, spent without his knowledge a couple of crores opportunity cost and 15 lakhs the real time cost in organizing a planning meeting for planning the conference. And I felt that this much, I think, could have been easily made available to the organizers of the conference, and avoided the meeting and simply done this by emails. Of course, I dare not tell the CEO friend at that point of time, but sometime later, in a very subtle way, when I passed on the feedback to him, I think he resolved that he is not going to do this, and he is also going to conduct the meetings in a totally different way. In fact, nowadays, whenever I have to attend meetings, I would prefer to attend by video conferences if I have to attend the meeting somewhere else, or prefer to send my thoughts on mail and so on. I think this feedback in terms of the time we spend and the returns on the time we spend is meant to respect the talent of people. Feedback is very valuable, but you'll have to see, I think, what are the conditions that we can create so that the feedback is very crisp, very short, and one doesn't have to spend half a day to travel and give a feedback of 5 minutes time and so on. I have seen in many performance feedback, online conducting of performance review discussions goes a long way. It may be a 20-minute discussion in a 6-month period, but it helps the person to understand each other, form perspectives, get motivated, and contribute better. So these are the ergonomics of giving and receiving feedback. Feedback can be a great changer if we create the right kind of an atmosphere and make it less expensive. I want to conclude this with a very funny story of how expensive feedback could be. Is the story of what happened to me when I checked into a five-star hotel once in as a part of an assignment that I was doing in one of the cities. As I went to this particular hotel, checked in, there was this complimentary coffee offered or complimentary drink, and then they said you can go to the restaurant and have a drink. I went to the restaurant and the waitress there came, smiled, and what would you like to have? I ordered. For the next 20 minutes, nothing happened. Then another person came and asked me, sir, what would you like to have? I said, I've already told the lady and she has not come back. He said, I'm sorry, sir, I'll get for you. And that person also didn't turn for another 20 minutes. So after about half an hour to 40 minutes, I got fed up and walked into the reception desk, and I said that, look, this is the way you people seem to be treating guests here, and this is not right. Then they said, no, we are very sorry about it, sir. We would like to, we assure you that this must be an exceptional kind of a thing. We like to make sure. Then I went back to the room. It is about 10:30 in the night. Between 10:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning, I kept on getting calls from different agents of the hotel saying that, sir, we sent you your favorite drink. Have you got it? I hope it was served. This is all right, and so on. And very interestingly, at least about half a dozen calls waking me up from my sleep, but the drink never arrived. So sometimes some of us are so over courteous. I think our courtesy is extended only to making promises and never in implementing this particular kind of thing. I don't mean that this is the kind of thing that we should do. I have said this in an interesting way. Sometimes I think feedback can be very expensive because I ended up paying heavily for giving feedback to this particular hotel. I never got the drink, this is number one, and number two, the number of times these chaps went on asking, have you got the drink, have you got the drink, and disturbing me, and different levels in this company, in this particular hotel, and so on. So I don't mean feedback of this nature. I don't mean treating people who give feedback in this particular kind of a way. In any case, I would think that feedback is very useful if it can be acted upon for the benefit of the people who manage the company and for the benefit of all of us, and particularly for the growth of the feedback receiver.